Hey, what's going on, everybody? My name is Matt Jarbo. This is the Mundane Matt channel, and this is a story that angered me when I first read the headline for, but at the same time satisfied me with the conclusion of that headline. There's nothing worse in this world than hurting children, defenseless people who cannot understand the full context of what's happening to them, especially when it is the person who cares for them the most, at least in their eyes, is who is supposed to be, and who just societally is supposed to be the number one person to look after them, fails them so utterly miserably. And that's where we find ourselves with this story here, where this woman gets 40 years in prison for trying to sell her 2-year-old daughter for sex. Not The Onion, not satire. This woman here who looks, poor Mo, woe is me, oh my gosh, is getting 40 years for trying to sell her 2-year-old daughter into sex. It's coming out of Conroe, Texas. A Houston woman has been sentenced to 40 years in prison after pleading guilty to charges that she offered to sell her 2-year-old daughter for sex at a cost of $1,200. The price of a 2-year-old is $1,200. Sickening. 25-year-old Sarah Marie Peters was sentenced Thursday after earlier pleading guilty to charges that include promotion of prostitution. Oh, I'm glad she pled guilty. I mean, they got her. Anyway. Authorities say undercover officers in Montgomery County, north of Houston, encountered Peters online on a social media site. They say she forwarded photos of young girls and asked if there was anyone who wanted to have fun with their daughter. So this wasn't like she met somebody online and she was coerced into, like she was down on her luck needing money, and some good doer out of the depths of the internet came out and was all like, well, I can make all your troubles go away if you give me your daughter. It's not that kind of moral, the decision, which, by the way, is not a moral decision at all. You immediately say no and you report that fucker to the cops. No question about it, right? You do that. But she went and willfully did this. This is a malicious act. Detectives watched Peters board a bus in Houston with her daughter to travel to Conroe, where she thought she was meeting a man who would pay for the child. So I want to know what was going through her head in this moment in time. I want to know at what point she thought this would be a good idea, right? Like, I try to be an understanding person. I do. I try to look at the other side, not always agree with it, but I try to understand it. And every place my mind goes immediately hits full stop. Don't do it. Call the cops. $1,200? You could make more in a month picking cans off the side of the road and recycling. You could make more in a month going onto Craigslist and getting free items and then reselling them. You could make more in a month giving hand jobs at a fucking men's rest stop. But your 2-year-old. She was arrested February 22nd. Her daughter was placed in the custody of State Child Protective Services. Just kind of want to bring up her face here. Can't really see much more than that, but it's this look at her face for a hot second. Look at her eyes, right? You can look at her eyes, and you can see, oh, I've made mistakes. Woe is me. No, fuck you. Fuck you. All I can say to that. You're a horrible person, a terrible mother, and a vicious cunt. 40 years is not enough. I don't want to look at her face anymore. 40 years is not enough. 40 years is nothing. By the time you get out of prison, you'll be 65. If you're in good enough health, you'll live another 30 years. Your daughter will be in her 40s, hopefully. I mean, thankfully she wasn't hurt, but we don't know the full extent of it. We don't know if this was the first time. I can't find any more info on the story, and I've been looking around. So I don't know if I'm hoping the child is pure. I'm pretty sure the child is pure. The way that it frames is that the child wasn't actually injured. But then that child has to grow up not knowing her mother, but then hopefully one day never fully understanding the extent of which her mother was willing to go in order to get $1,200. You could make YouTube videos on a relatively frequent basis and do okay enough to still earn $1,200 in a month once you get past a certain point. I'm saying it's possible. You could get a job. You know, I know they say McDonald's are like careers now, but you can still get a fucking job. Walmart, they hire anybody. But no, I'm going to pimp my daughter. It's $1,200. What was that? $50 per month she was alive? That's what your daughter meant to you. Oh, you sent photos of her to someone on a message board. Anyone want to have a little bit of fun? What kind of monster does that? Right? Like, what kind of... I'm so glad the authorities caught this shit, right? This is the thing. When I talk about... When I catch a lot of flack for going after Pizzagate for being nonsense because it was nonsense, it was proven nonsense, and I talk about adoption disruption as being a far greater threat, which is something very similar to this, and then we see this sort of thing happen, but it's not getting the type of attention that it needs in order to make sure that people like her, like Sarah Marie Peters, are not going out there and selling off their 2-year-old for $1,200 for sex. I mean, come the fuck on. How are more of these cases like this is a fucking huge ass problem. A terrible problem. But more people spend more time worrying about a goddamn pizzeria in fucking Washington, D.C., about a non-existent underground sex dungeon that was proven not to be there. They care more about that than stopping people like her. And that is one of the reasons why I get fucking upset. One of the reasons why I will fight back against that conspiratorial bullshit. Because people like this fucking cunt right here, this cunt right here, can sell their kid off, attempt to sell their kid off. Thank God the cops were there. Thank Christ the cops were there. Because we don't know how many other kids have been sold for sex in those same kind of websites. We have no idea at this point, but the police do, and they're working. So thank God for fucking them. But fuck that cunt. 40 years is not enough. Not enough. Lifetime in prison is what that takes. 100% lifetime in prison. She should never see the light of day again. A 2-year-old? A defenseless 2-year-old can't do anything. And you know what? Here's the thing. I know people are gonna be like, "But Matt, it happens every." No, I'm getting mad at this one case, obviously. Yeah, and I will fully admit I have a 7-month-old daughter, so I think about her being in a position like that, and I get mad. Fine. This kind of stuff is where people's attention needs to go. Focusing on a tinfoil hat theory to come out of fucking 4chan and make that a big enough thing. Alex Jones should be talking about this. You want to save people? You want to fucking protect people? You want to worry about you focus on this. You crack down on these kind of things. You expose these people. But no, it's better, it's easier to float a theory. Podesta's emails. Fuck. I'm just glad the cops are there. Protect this girl. I'm glad her mom was arrested, and 40 years is not enough. Not enough at all. Anyway, those are my thoughts. What do you guys think? Thank God this is my last story of the day, because that's oh, this video is straight up demonetized. I don't give a shit. I don't fucking care. Fuck her. Fuck the horse she rode on. She should never see your kid again. You know, change that kid's name. Get her away from her mom. And never let her know what could have been, the danger she could have been in. That's how you make sure that girl is safe. And I don't care what excuse there might be. I don't give a shit. It's your fucking kid. Not a fucking commodity. If you enjoyed this video, please consider becoming a patron today for just $1 per month over at patreon.com/mundanematt.